In the last episode, I made the long and slow journey to Neatishead Staith, a place I thought would be a nice and quiet spot to do a bit of perch fishing. Boy, how I was wrong. Neatishead Staith is very busy, but then the river is effectively the main road to Barton Broad for the boats. I was not aware of this, and only found out after talking to a local boat owner. The Staith itself is a popular mooring spot, which means fishing places are limited, and even if you do get one, you won't get much water to explore and fish. The weather was against me, the broad users were against me, and it was tough going. If you want to see how I got on, be sure to check out the playlist. Now on to episode 4 of The Search for Perch on the Norfolk Broads. For my fourth perch fishing session of the 2018-2019 river fishing season, I was struggling to choose a destination, so when the chap in the local tackle shop mentioned Neatishead Staith, I thought why not. Neatishead Staith comprises of a dyke off the main river where motorboats can moor up, empty out and refill. As you'd expect, the dyke can get busy during peak times. Boats in the dyke don't hamper the fishing, but a stream of boats coming in and out of the dyke can make things tricky, not least because the river is narrow and you have to wind in for all but the smallest of boats. Fortunately, the dyke isn't too busy and neither is the main river, although there are a few boats moving around. It's now at the tail end of the summer season and the Broads will start to empty over the next couple of weeks. Neatishead Staith is a pretty place, and being sheltered from the wind it gets very hot on sunny days like this. As you can see, the river is very narrow and it doesn't take much of a chuck to get the lure to the other side. You do need to be careful casting here because it doesn't take too much of a chuck to launch the lure into the bankside vegetation on the other side of the river, which always ends up with lost tackle. After talking to a fellow angler fishing the other side of the dyke, I discovered the fishing is still very hard going and not much is coming out. The Broads haven't really produced all summer and they are not fishing at their best. It seems that many fishermen are struggling and the large nets of bream, roach and perch just aren't happening. The summer pike have also been thin on the ground and only a handful of anglers have been lucky thus far. Once again, I am trying all the types of lures I own, including a rubber worm, twin tail grub, small minnow and textured shad. Once again, I will vary the depth I fish the lures, vary the retrieve and vary the way I work each of the lures. Once again, no matter what I do, I can't seem to get any perch to have a go at any of my lures. I know there are perch in the swim. Donning my polarised glasses I can clearly see the stripy critters under the water, but they don't appear to be feeding. Maybe it's still too hot. Maybe the oxygen levels have decreased so far the perch aren't feeding. I only started drop shot fishing this year, so whilst the conditions haven't been ideal for fishing since the start of the river fishing season, I really do think there is something that I am doing wrong, or something that I am not doing but should be, that is affecting my chances of netting a perch or two. I've spent several hours on the riverbank drop shotting for perch and have not had any success, and whilst I like a challenge, I also like to catch fish too. And this simply isn't happening. This session, and the last 3 perch fishing sessions before it, have been quite demoralising, and whilst I've enjoyed fishing the Broads, I haven't enjoyed being deflated on the way home after not catching. Even though I haven't caught any perch at Neatishead Staith, it hasn't deterred me and I will return in the autumn months when it gets a bit cooler and hopefully the fishing picks up.